Back to the men's pro game. Warriors star Steph Curry is expected to return for the start of the Western Conference playoffs in mid-April. Left foot sprain suffered there due to the body of Marcus Smart. Steph will undergo further evaluation with specialists, sources told ESPN. Curry and the Warriors conferring with Dr. Richard Ferkel, the renowned foot specialist on the injury. Those sources said, again, that is a massive story to watch as the playoffs approach, as are the current standings in both the Eastern and Western conferences. Those are the 1 through 6. Those guys are safely on board. But Scooby, the play-in tournament is what we're discussing here because it is the overwhelming topic of conversation with teams like the Nets, teams like the Lakers, trying to just get into that field of 8.
Yeah, and that's what the beauty of this play-in tournament has been. I personally love it. I know LeBron James said whoever put the play-in tournament needs to be fired.
Well, he's lucky they have it, because if not, they're not getting 8.
At this point, you're lucky that they have this play-in tournament. But when you look at that whole bracket, and since we're in March, I'm going to talk about bracket. I look at the East immediately, and I say, okay, the Nets right now, they have the Hawks. And
the Nets have the Raptors. It's 8-7.
The Nets have the Raptors, excuse me. And then when you look at that Nets-Raptors matchup, you don't want them to go to Toronto because
no Kyrie.
You can't have Kyrie. And that is not good for this team, who is a lot better with Kyrie Irving on the court than is he not on the court, because he's 4-1 when they have Kyrie. They score a lot more games when they have Kyrie. So this season, I think the Nets need to be able to get in the right positioning in order to have Kyrie Irving playing with them. And then at the same time, Kevin Durant, how much is he going to be able to carry this team without Kyrie on the court with him? And then is Ben Simmons going to be healthy to come back in enough time for this team to mesh and have a chemistry going on in the playoffs?
It is a cause for concern because I think the vaccine mandate is going to be lifted in New York before that of Toronto. Whether that happens before the playoffs is a whole other topic of conversation. I think that's unlikely. But Toronto plays the Lakers tonight. A lot of confidence there. The Raptors are going to get the job done. And more important for the Nets is the fact that in the 6th spot, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who seem to be going the wrong way, if Toronto can overtake Cleveland, then the Nets are in a double elimination scenario, the first game of which, and this is assuming they don't climb up to 7 themselves, a little bit of a tall order, only having Kyrie for 3 more games, then they get the Cavs on the road where Kyrie Irving can play. And we know he plays quite well in hostile environments. You imagine that would be one in Cleveland.
Hey, you said this once before. If you're going to be only available for the away games, then you might as well double up your play and play 2 times better. That's what Kyrie's been able to do. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
And then the good thing about Kyrie, we always talk about health going towards the end of the playoffs, right? Kyrie is going to be fresh if they end up lifting that mandate. This is a guy who's been playing, resting, resting. He's going to be in peak form once the playoffs come.
Scooby, we got to get to Western Conference as well because LeBron James in the 9 spot, they're not getting to the Clippers at 8. At 10, right now, the Pelicans, who have Zion Williamson rocking up to arenas in Red Octobers, the Lakers are flying out of the playoff picture. They're closer to the Spurs at 11 than they are to the Clippers at 8. So they're looking at a single elimination format themselves, and they'll be lucky to have a home game at this rate. The big question there is, what's Zion's status?
Yeah, Zion, we talked about health. AD, we talked about health. What is the status for these guys as we approach the end of the playoffs? Because both of these teams need both guys to come back ASAP. Play-in's going to be hot, baby. Gonna love to see it.
It is, and the countdown is on.